Smile, though your heart is aching, smile.
All right, you guys, it's been long enough. It's been about a week and some change. So since the Joker came out, so this is more enough time for if you'd have gone to see it. If you didn't go see it, heavy spoiler alert. I mean, super duper spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I don't want anybody crying and bitching. I didn't warn them. You didn't say enough at the time. No. Spoiler alert. Okay, let's get right into it. So, the movie starts off similar to how the trailer starts off with the front shot of a shot of the front of the Joker's or Arthur's clown agency. This agency where they send out like strippers, magicians, clowns, stuff like that. So it zooms in on that. You see him from behind, putting his makeup on and stretching a smile on his face and then stretching it down. And it looks like he's actually really like hooking, like really painfully the sides of his cheeks and then going up and down, making a smile and a frown. Like you see the tear come down his eye and it runs his makeup a little bit. Just a beautifully shot scene. That scene right there should win him an Oscar. Not to mention just the laundry list of other great stuff that went on in that movie. From then it progresses, you see Arthur, pretty downtrodden. Nobody at his job really likes him because they think he's crazy. Because it turns out, as you discover it during the course of the movie, again, spoiler alert, that his laugh comes from childhood trauma he suffered as a child. I'm not laughing because of childhood trauma. I'm laughing because of the redundancy of saying the childhood suffering he had as a child. I should have thought about that sentence a little bit better before I said it. So he was beaten as a child by his mom's boyfriend. It turns out he was adopted by his mom, who used to work for Thomas Wayne. It turns out, of course, she was crazy too. She was a schizophrenic. She did some time in Arkham. And she basically was obsessed with Thomas Wayne to the point where she had told Arthur that, she had wrote a letter to Thomas Wayne. She always wrote Thomas Wayne letters. So every day when Arthur came home, you would see him check the mailbox. Arthur, did we get the mail today from Thomas? No, we didn't, Mom. We don't need his money. Like, that was his whole thing. It was, I got your back. I got you, the man of the house and this and that. Really sweet. Like, he really played the mentally, I don't want to say he was mentally disabled because he was smart as a whip. But he had just suffered through so much in life. And it was the 70s and 80s. So mental health was like, just throw them these pills and go make them work. And that's it. Like that was the whole thing. Like he even said that to a psychiatrist. Like, do you ever, effing listen to me? Like I tell you this every day. Every day you ask me how I'm feeling. Do I have any negative thoughts? And to quote him, and I'm not going to do it any justice, he says, all I have is negative thoughts. Which is like just this ultimate self-awareness that, listen, you drag me here every week. You make me go through all these hoops. You're going to give me the medicine any goddamn way. Just give me my medicine so I don't feel so shitty during the course of the week. That was his whole thing. Because she wasn't listening. She was just asking the same questions, it's on a sheet of paper. How are you feeling today? Did you write in your journal? His journal was like different. His journal was a really, really deep window into his psyche. Because if you could, obviously you couldn't freeze frame it because it was at the movies. But I've seen some freeze frames of it on YouTube and on the interwebs. And he had a lot of sick stuff in there. But he had, he was working on his, he wanted to be a stand-up comedian. So he was working on punchlines and jokes and bits and stuff like that. Just great jokes. There are really a lot of dark jokes about mental health, but that were really poignant for nowadays. Like, they were spot on for nowadays. Like, they were really current. For them to take place, like I said, excuse me, in the 70s and 80s, it was really, really well done as far as how it was timeless. Like, it really looked like it was from the 80s. Like, it looked like they went back to the 70s and the 80s, early 80s, got a young Martin Scorsese and filmed this thing. Like, it looked terrific. It looked like taxi driver. It looked like The Comedian, which was a show that, not The Comedian. I forget the name of it. Robert De Niro was in it, where he was obsessed with a movie show host. And then he played the movie show host that Arthur was obsessed with in this movie. Murray, as he called him. He had like a Tonight Show. He was like Gotham Tonight. Like basically a Johnny Carson type. almost down to the set design. Like even the curtains look like the old school Tonight Show curtains. Excuse me, from the 80s. So just a great movie, man. Like from start to finish, just the cinematography, wonderful. The attention to detail, like I said, Arthur's journal. I would love to get a copy of that. Wonderful. He has this, what you think, again, spoiler alert, you were warned, what you think is a relationship with Zaza, who's the girl in the, I think that's her real name, who's the girl, she was in Atlanta. She also played Domino in Deadpool. She was like his quote-unquote love interest. So the whole course of the movie, you think they're actually an item. Like, he has a stand-up show. He's like, you should come to my stand-up show. Well, no. Let me skip back. He's in the elevator going up. He had just had a bad day at work. He got beaten up by the kids, jumped for a sign and stuff like that. His boss accused him of stealing the sign. He was like, no, I got jumped for a sign and got the shit beat out of me. Like, what are you talking about? So, he goes home. He's in the elevator going up to his apartment floor. Zaza's in there with her daughter. And her daughter is asking her questions. You know how kids ask questions over and over and over again. So it's driving her insane. So she does the old, again, I'm going to do a visual on a audio review of a movie. She does the old gun to the head, suicide thing. So like shoot the, just shoot me sign. So that sticks with Arthur for some reason. So Arthur, the next day, stalks her the whole day. Like, I mean, from her whole commute, from the time she left her apartment, went to work, follow her in work, and skip ahead a little bit in the scene. Later on that night, she approaches his door, knocks on the door, says, were you the one following me all day? He was like, yeah. Like, I'm busted, like, what's going on? And she was like, no, I don't mind, I just wanted to know who was following me around all day. Like, flirting with him. Which, to me, when I was watching the movie, I was like, yeah, that's a red flag. Because she is entirely too fine to like crazy. My logic was so superficial. It didn't have anything to do with, any type of thought process. It was just literally, she's too fine to be with that loser. That was my whole thought process, and I was right. So it turns out he was imagining these conversations. Like the whole movie was this reoccurring theme of what's real and what's fake because it's told from a crazy person's perspective. So the whole time you're watching it, you're like, was that real? It's almost like Fight Club. Like, was that real? Well, if Turbin wasn't there, if Brad Pitt's character wasn't there the whole time, who the hell was he talking to? So it's this whole thing of, so come to find out he wasn't dating her. They weren't even a couple. There's a scene where his mom is in the hospital because she has a stroke from the stress of Arthur finding a letter she wrote to Thomas Wayne alleging, quote unquote, that was his dad and that he had paid her off to leave and stuff like that. Which, if he paid you off, where'd the money go? Because you stay in a shitty apartment on Gotham's Lower East Side. So, you stay in a tenement. Like, come on, lady. What'd you do with the money? She was obviously lying. But, like I said, she had got fired by Thomas Wayne 30 years ago. Arthur was a small child then. The mom's boyfriend, when the cops had busted into her house, found Arthur chained or handcuffed to a radiator, savagely beaten. Suffered massive head trauma, suffered massive head trauma, and that's what gave him his uncontrollable laugh. So he would laugh in his laugh didn't match what he felt inside. So the subway scene with the douchebags who were picking on, I'm going to explain to you the scene, and you guys tell me who the bad guy was. 3 douchebags, I know I already labeled them douchebags, so you're automatically going to think they're bad guys. That was done on purpose. 3 douchebags are messing with this girl, this Asian lady on the bus or on the train. They're clearly drunk, throwing french fries at her and stuff like that. So Arthur starts laughing because he's nervous. So the guy thinks Arthur's being a smartass. So the guy starts singing Cindy and the Clown. The one guy starts singing Cindy and the Clowns. But unbeknownst to them, Arthur has a revolver on him. So they punch him and beat him up, kick him and stuff like that. So Arthur snaps. So he shoots the one guy, shoots the other one, chases the other guy off the train, and guns him down. So he murders 3 people. The narrative that Thomas Wayne was given on the news, because they work for Thomas Wayne, was it was a tragedy. This clown needs to be brought to justice, and all these other clowns that agree with him need to be put into Arkham. That's why he was running for mayor, to cleanse Gotham because it lost its way. This really high and mighty 1%er attitude. Like this version of Thomas Wayne was really different than the other ones. And that's also why I say that if this movie was to branch off into a new Batman series, it would be brilliant. Because at the end of the movie, Arthur comes to grips with his insanity. He kills his mom. He finds she was lying to him the whole time because he goes to Arkham. And if you see the trailer, the scene where he's running through Arkham with the files, he had his mom's files that he stole from the clerk, who was Paperboy from Atlanta. So they got a lot of Atlanta people in here. So Paperboy from Atlanta was like the clerk, the county clerk. He steals the files from him, runs down the hall, finds out his mom was a lunatic, finds out he was abused as a child. That's where head trauma came from. So he goes to the hospital. He's talking to his mom. He's like, yeah, I know you're full of shit. I know you've been lying to me all these years. Thomas Wayne isn't my father, or if he is, you've been lying to me. You and Thomas Wayne are basically the same type of person. You're horrible people, and you all need to be taken care of. So he smothers his mom with a pillow, kills her, goes back to the apartment, gets in his refrigerator, empties his refrigerator out, gets in his refrigerator. The phone rings. It's the Murray Show calling because somebody recorded Arthur doing stand-up, showed it on Murray's show. The crowd loved it, so they're like, oh, we got to get him as a guest. Excuse me. So they get him as a guest. He goes on the show. Well, no, I'm skipping parts. He's inside the refrigerator. Comes out the refrigerator, answers the call, says, is this real? She's like, yes, Murray wants to have you on the show. Can you come by next Thursday? Sure, that's cool. Time goes by. He has a mental break, like he snaps mentally. He goes to Zaza's apartment and breaks in. So that lets you know that he wasn't welcomed. She's shocked to see him there. She was like, Arthur, you got to quit following me like this. I'm going to call the cops. This isn't healthy. My daughter's sleeping in the next room. So you don't know if he kills her or not. But I don't think he does because everybody he kills in the movie, he kills the one guy that was the clown with him who gave him the 357 Magnum that he used to kill the guys with. He comes by the apartment with a dwarf clown that was employed by the company. So they're checking on him like, yeah, we heard about what happened to your mom, this and that. So Arthur was like, I got to tell you guys, it's a secret that's been killing me. I did something really bad about a couple weeks ago, and I got to tell somebody, I actually enjoyed it. So they're like, Arthur, what the hell are you talking about? You killed those people. He was like, yep, I sure did. And then he stabs the one guy, the bigger guy, the bigger clown guy that gave him the gun in the head with the knife, because he was always an asshole to him. Like, he lied on him, told the boss he had stole the gun from him, all type of stuff. It's a real piece of shit. So he kills him. So basically Arthur's theme was he only killed people who did him wrong. Now, of course, killing people is wrong. If somebody does you wrong, of course, you're not supposed to go out and murder them. But Arthur justified it as these people got what they fucking deserve. That's what he said. He literally said that. So he goes on the Murray show. He's telling these jokes. And Murray's like, you should be cracking these jokes about clowns, man. Like, this is serious stuff going on. It's a protest outside with everybody wearing clown makeup. They're protesting Thomas Wayne, the clown killer of the subway, this and that. You shouldn't be doing that. The cops that were chasing Arthur through the subway, that one scene from the trailer, they got savagely beaten by a group of clowns to the point where they got put in the intensive care. So they basically died. So Murray's like, you should be cracking these jokes. So Arthur was like, I got one more joke for you, Murray. That's how he said it. He said it was so funny. He's like, Murray. He was like, what do you get when you mess with somebody who's at, I forget the joke. I'm sorry, you guys. That's at like their wits end. And Murray was like, what? And Arthur was like, you get what you fucking deserve, and takes out the gun and shoots Robert De Niro right in the head, live on television. So because there was no time lapse in those days, it was just live was live. Everybody saw it. So he grabs the camera. He's giving a speech. The cops arrest him. They get him in the back of the squad car. One of the clown protesters, a supporter of Arthur's, drives up, sideswipes it. They pull Arthur out the car, but they pull him out like Jesus from the cross. It's really deep scene where there's like, that's their Jesus, that's their Messiah. So they're pulling him out. He's in like a crucifix. Like, if you ever saw any paintings from the depiction of the crucifixion of Christ, how they get him off the cross, his arms are just laid flat. He's just dead, basically. So he's just laid there. But his body kept the form of somebody that was on the cross. And that's basically what they did with Arthur. So they pulled Arthur out the car. He's got on his makeup still. He looks around. It's this massive crowd. Like, the music is swelling. It's this massive crowd of clowns. They got the cars flipped over. Police cars flipped over on fire. Everybody has on clown masks. They're all chanting, calling him Joker. So he takes the blood from his mouth because he got hit. He didn't have a seatbelt on. So he takes the blood from his mouth from bleeding and makes the smile on his face. It is just a great ending for that scene. And the movie, of course, is how the movie ended. So they take him to Arkham, and he's talking to the psychiatrist, but laughing maniacally. And as he's laughing, they're showing the Waynes coming out of the movie theater. You see where this is going. The Waynes are coming out of Zorro the Gay Blade was the name of the movie. So they're coming out of that movie. Thomas Wayne is rushing him and his wife and Bruce down the alley, because the riot is going on. Like, the city is coming unglued. So they're rushing through the alley. So it's a one clown guy that's standing there looking obviously like he's up to something. Standing there at the corner. He goes down the alley and says, "Hey, Wayne, you get what you fucking deserve." And shoots the mom. The pearls fly everywhere. Shoots the dad. Kills them both. And leaves Bruce there. So the whole time this is going, you hear Arthur in the background laughing. And the psychiatrist is like, "What's so funny, Arthur?" He was like, "No, just a joke I was just thinking of." She was like, "Oh, you want to tell me about it?" He was like, "No, you wouldn't get it." And as he's saying that, you see Bruce Wayne as a kid standing next to his slain parents in Crime Alley. And it's just beautifully shot, like the way his parents their bodies are like surrounding him in a circle, and they're dead, and because they collapsed, so they're dead. The pearls are all over the street, and it's just the music is swelling. And as Arthur's leaving out of the psychiatrist's office, it's obvious, it's his mental hospital, so it's all white. So you see his footprints with blood. The obvious inference being he killed the lady. So the red footprints of blood against the all-white background. You see him getting chased by an orderly as the music's going off. So it has like this Charlie Chaplin silent movie vibe, which he was watching a Charlie Chaplin movie in the movie Modern Times, which is about a guy being replaced by machines. It's a really good movie. Check it out. But just a great movie all around, man. The cinematography was brilliant. I cannot say enough good things about Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker. His version of it reminded me a lot of Falling Down. Like I said, I think I said in the last podcast, a lot of the movie Falling Down, where the guy just had one bad day. Like, that was the theme of the movie. You can have one bad day, but Arthur just had a series of bad days and bad years. He said in the movie, "I never had a fucking good day in my life." And that was true. Like, when he went back and saw his backstory as far as the abuse, his parents, his true parents were never known. Like, you never knew who they really were. So the Joker still had that whole multiple choice background to where you didn't exactly know who his parents really were. Was Thomas Wayne really his dad? I don't think so. People speculate that he was. I don't think he was. That would add a really deep part to him and Bruce's relationship. There's a really creepy part where he goes to Wayne Manor to confront Thomas Wayne and is doing magic to make Bruce open the gate. He takes his fingers and make Bruce smile. Alfred comes out, confronts him. He's like, "You're Arthur. You're so-and-so's son. Oh my God, you're the boy." Like, basically alluding to the fact that he knew Arthur was abused as a kid and how much he had went through. Because he had like this look of pity on his face when he said it. Just a brilliantly acted movie. I really suggest you go see it. There was some parts I left out purposely because, just go see the movie. But, like I said, great movie. 5 stars all around. Ignore the critics. Ignore the PC police who are saying, don't go see it because it's too violent. Every violent act in that movie was completely necessary for the plot and the advancement of the plot and those characters. There was nothing in that movie that was completely unnecessary. Every bit of violence in that movie was completely necessary. So like I said, go see it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I adored it. It should win an Oscar. It should win every Oscar. It should win Oscars for foreign films. It should win every Oscar. Best animated movie. Best animated short. Best short form documentary. Best silent film. It should win everything possible. That's how great that movie was. I adore it. Speaking of movies I adore, if you got the extra $20, go buy Lion King. It just came out on not Blu-ray, the physical Blu-ray copy, but it came out on digital download. I just got done watching it. That's another, I'm really tired of people and their complaints about great cinema. outside of Marvel movies, we've had some really great movies these past couple years. A lot of them have come from Netflix, Birdcage, Bird Box. I'm sorry, but just go check it out, man. I dug the last Lion King movie. I mean, I've talked about it before, so I'm not gonna go into it again, but I really enjoyed that movie. But like I said, go see The Joker. If you like this review, if you like our other stuff, check us out. aboogie83 on YouTube. Check us out on the website, abpinkmedia.com, which has some stuff that YouTube doesn't. Some more swearing and stuff like that. Some little bit more raunchy podcasts are on there. But go check it out. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe, and peace and love.
Oh, baby, you are so talented, and they are so dumb.